guys? It's Travis Fowler, Harkrider, and I'm with Four Corner Post bringing you this week's edition of Best Wrestling Show of the Week. Sorry if I sound a little hoarse. I may be a bit under the weather, and also maybe allergies. Haven't quite determined that myself, but I wasn't going to let that stop me from getting my weekly dose of wrestling in and getting it out to you guys on my opinion on who had the best wrestling show for this week. So we'll just jump right into it. Raw started off with Cody Rhodes and The Miz doing a great little Miz TV segment, and it led to then later on a great matchup between the two. It was real just kind of a basic fundamental match with a couple of cool spots added in there. I really think Cody Rhodes is going to hit a stride from this point being back in WWE. I think his reaction was better than what he received in Dallas the week prior. Detroit just loved him. So I think we're on a good strand for Cody Rhodes to actually have a good run here for WWE. Also on Raw, we saw the next women's title match announced for Bianca Belair, which is going to be, of all people, Sonya Deville. Didn't really see that one coming, but okay. Could potentially be good. We'll see where it goes. I actually like Bianca, and I think they're going to be doing great things with her. And who knows, maybe Sonya is going to pull out a performance that nobody really expects. It should be pretty good to see how this ends up faring. Of course, we saw Mahal do his thing with the Mysterio still and took out Dominic this week. But then the main story that goes into Raw is the tag team title situation. Of course, RK Bro versus the Usos, and we know that that match is now official, but we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But this has been the main story going forward, and it was capped off with two great tag team matches actually for Raw. We saw RK Bro take on the Alpha Academy. Those two teams have great chemistry, and they had an excellent tag team matchup, which then led right in to the Usos coming in and doing a match with the Street Profits, which was another great matchup. And it took me this long to see that they renamed the 3D to the 1D, the One and Done. That's where One and Done came from. Kept trying to figure out where that was from, and maybe I just missed it. But still, they continued the storyline going into SmackDown with the Usos and RK Bro, where, like I said, they finally made it official for WrestleMania Backlash, and it's an undisputed tag team title match. The titles will be unified, and I really do think this is going to be a step in the direction of unifying at least the top titles, which I don't think is a bad idea. I kind of like the idea of your top champions going from show to show. They've already done it with the women's tag titles, which I know isn't really a top title. That thing has played hopscotch and irrelevancy like nobody's business, but it can be done, and they've shown it with those titles. So maybe this is the step that we're heading to, and if so, I'm here for it all day. Also on SmackDown, we saw Sami Zayn take on Drew McIntyre yet again. And once again, it ended in some form of a count-out DQ situation. It was a non-finish situation once again, but it now leads to a lumberjack match, which is going to take place next week on SmackDown. Kind of surprised that they didn't save it for WrestleMania Backlash, but maybe they, like myself, don't feel it's one of those matches that is going to draw that well. I know that may sound a little crappy, especially because Sami Zayn has been putting on great performances recently, and Drew has just been on an unstoppable stride since the audience has now returned. They really didn't do much with him at first, but now I think he's really connected well with the audience, and he is definitely one of the, if not the top babyface over on SmackDown. We also saw the Intercontinental title match with Ricochet and Jinder Mahal. Nothing really to speak of in this matchup. We all knew that Ricochet was more than likely going to walk away with the Intercontinental title still, but it is WWE after all, so I mean, things can happen that are stupid, but in this case, that didn't happen. Of course, Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin, or Happy Corbin, it's so hard sometimes when you get used to saying that, continued on their feud, but we didn't really see too much of interaction between those two. More so, we saw just Madcap pick up a victory over one member of Los Lotharios. I think they're actually really pushing for Madcap, and they're actually giving some sort of notoriety to the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy. It's kind of fun to see that they're actually using this in the story and making it appear to be some real top prize that he won before WrestleMania. So all good things there. We also saw now on AEW so many title matches, which was actually kind of surprising considering they had the Battle of the Belts take place this weekend. I don't know why you wouldn't have had all the belts take place with the show Battle of the Belts, But, you know, it is what it is. They had a great show still. It was full action, high-paced drama all night long. They opened up with CM Punk versus Penta Oskiro, which was a really good matchup. Had a really ridiculous couple spots at the beginning, though, where they would go from trading shots, slap shots, I should say, to then actually trading punches. It was actually somewhat pretty cool. I did enjoy it. It was a real fun moment in the matchup. What I didn't find really fun, which we'll get to later, is when they repeated the exact same spot in the main event. But also, they had the tag team titles on the line where we saw the Jurassic Express, or maybe they were just calling him Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus at this point, have a really good match with Red Dragon. I was actually really surprised they didn't give Red Dragon the championship win here, but they're really pushing for the Jurassic Express, and honestly, I'm not mad at it. I like the team. I think that team still has miles ahead, so I like that the win went to them as opposed to Red Dragon. We also saw Maria Shafir make her AEW Dynamite debut and was successful at it. They're kind of giving her this, I don't know, like an unhinged type character. She didn't really show like an out of controlness necessarily, nor did she show like a lot of zimph and like high energy. It was just very calming, and I actually like this. So we'll see if they end up doing something better with her than what WWE did. This is all leading up to a match with her and Jade Cargill, which actually might be really good. So we'll see where this goes. I'm interested and intrigued to see what they do with it going forward. Of course, we saw in the main event, Ring of Honor's television championship was up for grabs as Minoru Suzuki took on Samoa Joe in what many call the dream match. But one thing I did not like was they repeated the exact same opening that was done in the Punk and Oskiro match. It was slap chops left and right, and they went on forever. I didn't like that, but one thing that fans probably didn't like more was the debut of the guy, I can't even remember his name. I know that's kind of sad to say. Something Singh. He was a basketball player, now turned pro wrestler. But to me, this is just AEW's version of the Giant, or excuse me, the Great Khali. And I'm not really digging it. I know a lot of people also weren't digging it. And even Tony Khan was actually trying to deflect blame on himself for the debut going horribly wrong this past Wednesday. But sorry, in this case, AEW did not do a debut really well. It was an unknown guy, and the whole segment just felt flat. But what didn't feel flat is going into Impact Wrestling, and they opened up still at the 2300 Arena from those tapings with W. Morrissey giving a very awesome heartfelt promo, and it was then interrupted by the returning team. That's right, they're teaming up finally after feuding last year. The major players, that being Matt Cardona and Brian Myers with Chelsea Green at their side as well. I like this team a lot. I like that they're giving these two guys some focus as like top heels, and especially Chelsea being a top heel as well for the women's division. All good things on that front. We also saw Alex Shelley take on Steve Maclin, which is leading towards the triple threat at Rebellion with the two of them involved. It was a really good matchup that saw Alex Shelley pick up the win. I still love seeing the Motor City Machine Guns back on Impact. They're a team I grew up watching on TNA in my teen years, and I enjoy watching them now, even as an adult. Going on further on Impact, something that is really, really getting my interest and has led to an 8-man tag for next week is the Bullet Club versus Honor No More. These are the top two factions. One is a top faction, yes, from another company, but it's still making good waves here in America, while the other one is a homegrown faction built upon Ring of Honor stars with a great story behind them, and they're having the two clash. I loved it, love the segment, love that they're doing something with this, and can't wait to see how far they go with Honor No More versus the Bullet Club. The main event this week, much like the other main events, wasn't like a world setting and everything burning to the ground type of main event. It was Jonah taking on PCO, where we saw PCO get annihilated at the end by Jonah after Jonah picked up the win. He did a splash off the top of the chair onto his stomach. It was a really cool spot. This may lead to more interactions between PCO and Jonah. Of the members of Honor No More, though, I really think PCO will be the first one to break away because a lot of fans enjoy him and they like his character. So I can see them breaking him away from Honor No More first before anybody else goes away from that faction. So, who had the best wrestling show this week? Nothing really prominent stood out between any of the 4 shows, but the show that continues to entertain me a lot more than just about any others is Impact Wrestling, and they pick up the W this week. I, again, am looking really forward to seeing what they do with Honor No More versus the Bullet Club. Plus, the title match building towards Rebellion with Josh Alexander and Moose has been handled very well. Everything is just hitting correctly with Impact, a lot of logical storytelling with a lot of branch offs into other stories that we can hopefully develop later on. They're just doing everything right over in Impact. Now, that was my opinion on who I think had the best wrestling show this week. Do you agree with my opinion? If you do, or even if you don't, let me know down in that comment section below. Also, if you're visiting this channel for the first time or watching this video and you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And then after you subscribe, make sure that you like this video. And then after you share the video, also make sure to hit your bell notification so that you're notified every single time we have a new video uploaded to the channel. As always, I'm Travis Fowler, Hark Rider with the 4 Corner Post, and I will see you guys again next week.